welcome to another episode of Amanda Homestead. My name is Amanda, and today what we're going to actually be talking about is spraying your fruit trees and kind of how to use fruit tree sprays in a way that's organic, using them as infrequently as possible so that way you can still reap a really good organic fruit harvest. In my first video about our garden tour, our homestead tour, I did mention that growing fruit has been really challenging to try and grow any quantities of it and still maintain organic methods. So I don't know if you guys have tried this, but it is not easy. So I usually kind of have a multi-pronged approach. I have electric fencing around the outside of whatever fruit I'm growing to try and keep out chipmunks, squirrels, raccoons, my dog. So that's my first prong. Then I have netting over top of things to keep out birds. I've tried little mesh bags for over top of fruit. Actually, that worked really well. And then I also use a spray schedule to try and reduce my pests and my diseases as well. When I read about how to spray fruit trees, it's really confusing what product you choose when. Some of the general principles are, obviously you read the label of the product, because sometimes certain products can be toxic to plants at certain times, and my puppy dog is going to come right over here, and he's got a cone head on. Let's see if you can see him. That's a sad dog who's had to have foot surgery, and he is now the cone of chaos because he knocks everything over as he goes. Okay, well, he's going to lay down and hang out with us. That's cool. Okay, the other thing too is you have to think about resistance. You don't want to use the same spray over and over again, because then the pests or the diseases are more likely to become resistant to that spray. So you do want to try and alternate. Okay, so let's talk first about the products. My favorite one that I use most often, although not all the time, right, is one called Lime Sulfur. And again, these are all organic. And this one is good because it is both it'll kill both fungus and insect pests. Next one is a dormant oil, a horticultural oil. I use this also, and this one is good for insects. It doesn't really address the fungus issue, okay? And as it kind of states, it's more for dormant use. I also use something called BTK, which is it's actually bacteria, and these bacteria will actually infect any caterpillars that are eating leaves on your trees, okay? So this is nice because it doesn't affect any beneficial insects, right? So it's only gonna go after things that are eating the leaves of your trees. And it's only for soft-bodied, so only caterpillars, okay? But this stuff is awesome for caterpillars. I also like to use, I'll use every so often, Bordeaux spray or copper spray, and that one is good for fungus. The other thing that I like a lot is something called Surround or kaolin clay. This is kind of like a ceramic powdered clay, and it doesn't actually kill anything. It's more like a repellent. So what you do is you spray this a few times, and then it kind of forms a coating on top of the fruit or the plant for that matter. And when the insect comes on there, the clay particles get all over the insect and irritate it, and so then it just won't come. Not only that, but it's good for keeping birds away because they don't really recognize, they can't really tell what the fruit is because it actually changes the color of the tree and the fruit. Now, bear in mind, it will turn your trees white, so you may not find that as aesthetically pleasing, but I found it was really good. It's a bit hard to source here in Canada. I had to order mine from the States because I didn't want to buy like kaolin clay that's cosmetic grade. So I did have to buy mine from the States. So I'm not sure what countries you guys are in, but if you're in the US, great, good for you. If not, you'll have to see what you can do about sourcing some. Okay, so let's talk about kind of when I do my spraying. So I have the ones that I do every year. I do a couple of dormant sprays. I'll do one in the fall when the leaves fall off the trees and the trees have gone dormant, okay? And generally then I'm going to use that lime sulfur. And then in the early, like the late winter, early spring, just as the buds are starting to swell, which is now, I will do another dormant spray, okay? So again, I'll either use that dormant oil or I will use the lime sulfur. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to use the lime sulfur. And then what I'll do is I don't do any spraying when the trees are in bloom, for obvious reasons that a lot of these would interact with or interfere with the pollinators, and I absolutely don't want any of that, okay? So then I won't do anything else until all the petals have fallen, and then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use that surround spray. I'm gonna start by doing 3 applications of my surround, and then I'm gonna do it every week for about 4 weeks, okay? And then obviously if there's a really heavy rainstorm, I might have to redo it because it needs to be coated. The trees need to be pretty white for it to work. So those are my scheduled sprays. And then in addition to that, what I might do is if I specifically see caterpillars, I'm gonna go after them with that BTK, okay? So every few days, I'm always out there in my orchard, walking around, picking off infected leaves that have got the rust, because that's how it spreads, or I'm squashing caterpillars or bugs or whatever, and it also allows me to see kind of what's going on and to know kind of whether things are starting to be a problem. So I would do that insect spray. If the rust infections were getting out of control, I might go and use that copper spray, which is another antifungal. So now what we're going to do is we're going to talk a little bit about the equipment that you need to use if you're going to be spraying your fruit trees. If you just have 1 or 2 fruit trees, something like this, which is a pump sprayer, is perfect. So what you do is you fill it up with whatever you're spraying and you just pump this thing. This is really old, okay? It's been through lots. And you pump it up and down until it achieves pressure, and then you just push the trigger here, spray comes out the nozzle, and you can adjust it. There are ones that are like this that are same idea, it's a pump, but they're quite a bit bigger. They'll take up to, I think, like about a gallon or 4 liters of whatever your mixture you're using. But I found that they were getting clogged, and I've got about 15 dwarf fruit trees right now, and it was just taking me way too long. So then what I ended up doing is investing in a backpack sprayer, and I love this thing, I have to say. It just makes spraying so much easier. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go outside and we're going to start spraying some fruit trees with that lime sulfur, so you can see how we do it. So we're going to mix our lime sulfur as the package directs for the dormant oil. So in this particular product, that's going to be 1 liter of concentrated lime sulfur in 10 liters of water, because I have got quite a few fruit trees. Gonna mix. This stuff kind of has a very strong rotten egg smell. So up to you whether you want to mix this outside. Normally I do, except for that it's like really, really snowy out there. So I'm not going to do that. Okay, so we'll pour this in here. Another one of the reasons why I love this sprayer is because it's got this basket that catches all particles in there, so that way it doesn't go through and go into the sprayer. You can see it's not so easy to pour cleanly. This is why we do it outside. We're going to start out here with our 1 pear tree. Okay, so I've got my backpack on, and I can kind of squish it around like this just to kind of mix it up every so often. And then I'm going to turn it on, and then we begin spraying. Okay, so we want to make sure we get every branch, and we also get the trunk as well, okay? And look how beautiful that sprays. Isn't it gorgeous? Okay, so we went all the way around the tree. You can also see it kind of, maybe you can see, it will color the snow yellow, and it will penetrate the soil But that's actually good, spraying the soil a little bit to try and get any pests that are overwintering in the soil as well. So what I've done is I've kind of covered it until it was coated. Okay, let's do the rest of them. Okay, so thank you for joining me on another episode of I Demand a Homestead. I hope you enjoyed this video and you found it helpful. If you liked it, please feel free to press the subscribe button and also the notification bell so that way you never miss another one of my videos. If you have any questions or comments about my fruit tree spray schedule, you know, this is a learning process and it's never perfect, and I'm always happy to hear kind of other recommendations of things people have tried. All right, everybody, take care. Have a great day. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.